In this lesson, we'll learn how to handle multi-touch events. On the screen, I've got code from an earlier lesson in which we created a button class, and as well we made that button class draggable. So we'll create multiple buttons on the screen and enable multi-touch so that we can drag those buttons around. And as well, we'll learn how to pop an object to the top of a display group so that when it's tapped, it'll appear atop the others in case they overlap. The first thing that we'll do is activate multi-touch on the system. If you don't do this, you won't be able to use multi-touch. Now realize because we're on the computer testing through the simulator and the computer isn't multi-touch, we won't be able to simulate multi-touch within the computer. We'll actually have to build this to the device. I go over building to the device much later in this title, so I'll show you what it looks like on the device. And then if you're interested to know how to build to the device, go to the lesson on that. Okay, we'll go down into the button class. The first code that we'll write will be within the button touch function and in the began phase. When the user taps an object, we want to pop it to the front of the display group. So we'll do that by calling self to front. And this can be called on any display object to basically pop it from its current position in the stack, in the visual stack, to the top of the stack. Next thing that we'll do is we'll head to the display.getCurrentStage method. We're going to add an additional argument. Here, we're specifically setting the touch that will receive focus, so EID. This will allow us to attach a particular touch to a particular object. In the ended phase at line 53, we don't have to do anything to nil out that touch, just passing nil to set focus will take care of it. Finally, we'll need to return true so that if the objects overlap, the touch doesn't bubble down to objects beneath the current object. Everything else in the code will stay the same. So now we'll head to the bottom of the code and we'll instantiate some objects. First thing we'll do is create a table to hold our objects. Then we'll create a table of positions. These will be XY positions that will be iterated through in order to position the objects. Each index will be a table. Now we'll generate 5 images. We'll start at 1, we'll go the length of the positions table, and we'll create new images within the foo table. Now let's take a look at what we have. So we've got 5 images, and so from here, we're stuck. We can't really test multi-touch on the simulator. And in case you're wondering, in the terminal, it even says, simulator does not support multi-touch events. While I can't demonstrate multi-touch on the Corona simulator, there is a way to demonstrate it using the Xcode simulator. I went ahead and built this project for the Xcode simulator. I go into how to build for the Xcode simulator in a later lesson, but let me cut away to that and show you. So within the Xcode simulator, or actually it's called the iOS simulator, you can hold the Option key and you get these 2 points, and here I'm just hovering, I'm not clicking, and they represent touch. So if I hold down, then actually I do have multi-touch happening. So this just shows you that I'm able to move 2 of the objects independently, and I'll go ahead and cut away to a video that does have the device being used and show you that as each of the objects is pressed, you get the overstate, and you can see that the user is moving the objects freely on the screen. And each object pops to the top of the stack, and that's because we're using to front. This ends our lesson on how to handle multi-touch events.